I'm gonna do a top 5 real quick.
Okay, I'm top 5 and I'm balls even top 5.
Top 5 in here.
Top 5 it up.
You'll appreciate a handful of these.
Just a handful.
So recently I posted I was gonna do top 10 my favorite Sega Genesis
Saw that.
games. I'm gonna do the top 5. I can't even honestly remember what 10 through 6 was. I posted it a while back and I deleted those pictures, but I do remember the 5 that I had on top here.
So you're gonna do Genesis, and should I do Super Nintendo?
Well, essentially the same outside of like
Mario
Sonic
stuff.
games and Mario.
Yeah.
And Yoshi, if you want to get into it.
Do it.
But so what I was doing was, for example, at my number 5, I'm saying the Mortal Kombat series, because I'm not gonna pick it apart and do 1, 2, 3, and whatever.
Yeah.
So, and we'll start there. So
do it.
I think at number 5, I have the Mortal Kombat series. A lot of people would probably think it would be higher, but that game is so simple.
And also
it was just
so fucking hard.
It was, well, one, it was hard. It was fun. There was not a lot of like versus games, those side-by-side versus games that really did it that well. And it was smooth. The attacks were difficult. So you couldn't win a battle just stomping A.
Mm-hmm.
You were gonna get your ass kicked.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe the level of difficulty, the gore in it was actually pretty cool, and you could do those fatalities. It was a fun game, but it is very limited. That's why it wasn't higher than 5 for me. Because if you're not into that versus, then there's no point in Mortal Kombat.
Right.
Am I going all the way through mine?
Go. Do it.
Number 4, I will say Toe Jam and Earl.
Nice.
And that is more nostalgia and just straight creativity. If you guys aren't familiar, Toe Jam and Earl are 2 aliens that crash landed on Earth, or like an Earth style thing, and they have to find their pieces of their ship to fly back. But if they come across, like, basically you start on this like floating piece of land, and you find a piece of ship, and then you go to the elevator and you go up to the next piece of land, and you continue through.
Right.
But as you go up and find more and more stuff, you come across like crazy normal human stuff that'll hurt you, like someone mowing a lawn, and there will just be like a lady with a shopping cart with a kid, and the kid like throws shit at you. And it's just ridiculous, the stuff that you come across. And it's part like creativity. It's a real slow game. There's no action. You literally just like, you dance. You are Toe Jam or Earl, and you dance through the game. When you walk, you dance, because it's like a funky beat.
I remember the music, yeah.
And then there's like stuff that'll slow you down. Like there's a hula girl, where if you get too close to her, you automatically pause and do like a hula dance. So if there's like an enemy after you, it'll hit you now.
That's so fun.
But there's like presents that you can pick up with like fast shoes, so you can run away from people, or different fun stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a super creative game. Like I said, it's more nostalgia for me. It's a very simple game, but yeah. So Toe Jam and Earl is definitely number 4.
Oh yeah.
Number 3 was, actually, this might surprise a lot of people. Garfield. I forget what the actual thing was called. Caught in TV land or something.
You don't even know.
Garfield game.
You didn't even know. You must not have liked it that much. Fucking
It's
Garfield.
something I played it like 3 weekends in a row.
Speaking of, I never got into Garfield. I could give less than 3 fucks about Garfield.
Caught in the act.
Nice.
So I think the game was, you got caught in a TV at the beginning, and you had to fight your way through these different channels. God, it's fuzzy. But there's one where I remember Odie, the dog. It's been so long.
I wouldn't know.
He was a vampire. So like it was like partially his real life. So Odie became a vampire, but he was in a vampire channel or a vampire show or whatever.
Yeah.
So you had to beat him as a vampire. But the gameplay was just really fun. And with that style, you can go through different levels, kind of like a Mario, where every land and every level is completely different theme-wise.
Right.
So it was just really fucking fun. And to throw like a weird wrench in there. I remember it particularly because I got super fucking sick playing that game. I came down with like 105 fever and was like blacking out as a kid.
You got sick from playing it, or you got sick and then played it like nonstop?
I got sick. No, I got sick like while I was balls deep into the game. So it was just like a weird like timing thing where I remember playing and DNR was over and we were playing that game and I just felt like shit all of a sudden and I had to go to the hospital like the next day because my fever. So it was just like timing. But
man,
yeah. So awkwardly enough, Garfield, caught in the act.
That's ridiculous.
Is my number 3.
Nice.
Number 2 is gonna be the Sonic series. I fucking loved Sonic. I think Sonic 2 was probably my favorite. But I would play Sonic all fucking day. I loved it. I don't know. I think it was like I felt like I was racing, even though you're not.
Yeah.
But it's like you're a fast character. You go through a lot of these levels were like tubes, so you could take different tubes different ways, and it was like a what's that tube theme park indoor?
Oh, Discovery Zone.
It was like I'm a speeding hamster through Discovery Zone.
Speeding
tubes.
hamster, yeah.
Dude, I fucking loved it. I spent a lot of time. I think it was on the second one. Dr. Robotnik. It was just a fun core of a game, and it gave you a little more than Mario. I felt like you can go different ways. There was probably 3 or 4 different avenues to get to the end.
Right.
Where Mario, essentially you have like one, maybe you can take a tunnel or something, but you end up on the same thing.
Right.
The map was like so tall where you could go through 4 different ways or go backwards. It was just fun. It like the exploration in that game was a little better than the standard Mario games. My final and favorite Sega game of all time.
I had to look up one because I was forgetting one.
NBA Jam.
Nice.
NBA Jam. And people might say tournament edition or whatever. Just play fucking NBA Jam. I played because basketball, video games, put them together, and I'm 7. Let's fucking do this.
Yes.
Let's fucking do this all day.
Hell yeah.
NBA Jam was my shit. I suck at it right now.
Yeah, dude.
Glass Armor beat the fuck out of me last time we played.
It's hard to go back to those games, man.
It is. Yeah, it is. Especially when it's rigged and I can't win.
Always blaming the game, huh? Always blaming the game.
But yeah, so that's my top 5. I'll run back through it. I had Mortal Kombat at 5, Toe Jam and Earl at 4, Garfield at 3, Sonic Games at 2, and NBA Jam at 1.
At number 1, that's awesome. Yeah,
I love NBA Jam.
Now I'm gonna do mine in no particular order. Just gonna do the top 5 best Super Nintendo games of all time. Before I do, 2 honorable mentions because these are games that I played the shit out of when I got emulators in like high school, but I never actually had as a kid. And that's Contra 3 and
Batman
Turtles 4. Those are games I never had as a kid, but when I got emulators, I played both of those. I played the fuck out of those.
Is Turtles 4 the Turtles in Time one? Where it was like basically the exact same thing as the NES game, but it was like you go back in time and shit. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so those are definitely honorable mentions, but they don't count because I didn't have them like actually on Super Nintendo. Are you gonna
put Batman Returns?
Yeah.
Is this on your list?
It's not number 1, but it's on my list. So yeah, no particular order. Definitely Batman Returns. We talked about Batman was like the favorite, especially as a kid. I was obsessed with Batman, everything. And when I got my Super Nintendo, that was the first game that I got. It was that and Mario Kart. So Batman Returns for sure is on my list.
You know what's interesting is as an honorable mention, I'll put Batman Forever. That was also on Sega.
Similar game too.
That game was, I think the Batman Returns was a smoother game, but the Batman Forever game, it had so many extra gadgets that you could use. It was almost confusing, even as like an 8-year-old. Like you could figure anything out when you're 8-year-old and this stuff's brand new. You just understand it. I could not understand that game, and I was so confused because all the little things, like you had to select the hook shot for this level because there's one piece where you got a hook shot over this guy who's you unbeatable. It's like, how am I supposed to fucking know this? Yeah,
dude, there was a few levels where like the ground was on fire and you had to grapple to the ceiling and like keep grappling and like gradually like hop your way above the fire. That was like some of the hardest shit to do. And I remember I didn't beat that game for a very, very, very long time. Like I played that game for probably 2 years before I beat Batman Returns. The
not
Penguin,
even close. Batman Forever, not even close.
never beat it ever.
No, not even close.
The Penguin, the final match with the Penguin, the showdown and the Duckmobile is fucking so hard to do. And the one where he's got his umbrella and he's flying around the building, like he'll just go off screen and he'll just fly in at full speed and just run into you. And you can't even like get a hit on him. You have to wait till he lands. It's so fucking hard, dude. But I played that game for years and years. So Batman Returns for sure is on there. Super Mario Kart, fantastic. I played that for hours and hours also. And this is like the best years of my life. I'm coming back to it right now.
Yeah, it was honestly fun. So I actually was thinking about this, and we'll get back to your list real quick. But
Nope.
like investing in a new Xbox game is such a big deal. I feel like because you buy a game and there's like 100 hours of gameplay, you're like investing months of gameplay into a single game now.
Yeah.
I seriously want to go back to where I can just buy a game for like $15 and be entertained for a weekend. I would legitimately do that.
Yeah.
Just upgrade the graphics on Batman Forever from SNES. And
Well,
I'll play
that's
that.
where you got to just get those classic console things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I just keep going back to retro stuff because like I'm looking for a new game and I look at Titanfall. It's like, oh, you can play this for the next 3 years if you want. I don't want a game for 3 years. I want a game for like next 2 weekends.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm actually going to change right now because as I thought of this, I'm ditching Mario Kart. It's out because I remembered something.
An addendum over here.
Oh, what?
An amendment? Addendum?
Amendment. Yeah. Irritated addendum. So Batman Returns, and then I'm going to go Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Fantastic. Good timing. Just like you said, you were balls deep in basketball for NBA
Wait,
Jam.
the movie game, or was it before that?
I did love the movie one, but the first one I like better. That was based off of the first season of the show. That's the one we were talked about where the first boss is the skeleton cowboy. The second boss is the dwarf with the rake. The third one is the eyeball guy. And then the fourth one was that's exactly what it is, dude.
The second level, you got to be Bubba from West Virginia.
And the fourth one was I always mix up the fourth and the fifth levels. But one was like a ninja. And then I can't remember the last one. And then once you're done with those, you go in the Zord. And then you go up to the moon and fight. But that one was amazing because I was obsessed with the Star Wars show. So obsessed. And then, yeah, in the movie one, Power Rangers, the movie, you could play as the White Ranger. So that one was sweet, but I like the first one better. So we got that one. We got Donkey Kong Country 2 for sure.
Whoa.
What are you pissed
I did
about?
not realize the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie game was so old.
What do you mean?
When do you think the movie came out?
Like 96?
The game came out in 95
So the movie must came out in 95 too.
or 94. But I was legitimately saying like 96, 97. I thought the movie came out later.
Damn. Yeah, I was off. Yeah, so Power Rangers, the first one for sure. Third is going to be Donkey Kong Country 2. Again, obsessed. I remember me and Bronson used to sit in the basement and play that game forever. That was a hard one too.
I never got into the Donkey Kongs. Yeah, because I didn't have an SNES.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, I never played the first one. Oh,
I just
you forgot something, didn't
game.
you? Yeah. What'd you forget? That's why I said I had to Jewel Master. Yeah, I had to ditch Mario Kart as soon as I thought of Power Rangers. Throw that shit in there. Donkey Kong Country 2 was sweet. I remember the hardest level was the one where you're on. It was like a minecart roller coaster, and like you're in the little cart, and you have to jump over obstacles, and like there's the flying bees and like the crocodiles throwing like cannonballs at you and shit.
Throwing cannonballs.
Yeah, literally, they're chucking cannonballs at your face.
I know.
It's ridiculous. I know. And then we have Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. That's the one where you're baby Mario on Yoshi's back, and you have to carry him around. And Yoshi, you can chuck eggs and stuff. That one was fun. It was a really unique take on it because you didn't play as Mario at all. And the fact that you had a gun in that one, as opposed to having to jump on people's heads. Like Yoshi chucked eggs at people. It was sweet.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't say this is number one. I just kind of putting them in order, but NBA Jam's definitely up there for me. Because I remember we would spend hours and hours running back, doing the dunks, just the dunks, running back from,
Yeah.
from side to side, just dunking to try to break the glass, and it would happen like once every week. Like it was so rare to make happen. Like they kept me trying to do that forever. But yeah, definitely NBA Jam. So NBA Jam, Donkey Kong 2, Power Rangers, Yoshi's Island, and Batman Returns. And now it's time to go get an emulator and play all those games.
Jewel Master. Jewel Master is my underground shout out there, because that might break my top 5. I might get rid of Mortal Kombat, honestly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was just, I don't know what drew me to that game, but basically you'd go to your select menu and you would put rings on different hands, and you had like 2 spots on each hand, and you could mix match the
Thanos.
rings, and it was like blue flame plus wave, and it would make this like fucking wave
Of
little
blue flame.
ball thing. But if you took off the wave part, it would just be a blue flame, and it wouldn't go that far. So you started mix matching these things, and it
Oh,
was
that's pretty
just
sweet.
complete difference depending on the bosses that you were fighting and stuff. Oh, dude, it was so fun.
Yeah.
It
Another
was so
thing
fun.
I played a lot of was, this doesn't count, but it was Game Boy games, but they had that adapter where you put the cartridge in the Super Nintendo and put the Game Boy cartridge in there, and you could play Game Boy games on the Super Nintendo. So I used to play Zelda Link's Awakening is one of my favorite games ever, and Pokemon games, obviously. I used to play them on the Nintendo, on the console, or on the TV.
I've never seen anyone do that.
Really?
I didn't know anyone that had an SNES.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that thing was fucking sweet, dude.
That's so weird for me to say that. Yeah, I don't, because DNR, I don't think ever had one.
Nintendo always had crazy shit like that. Those adapters and stuff. Just like how they had
Yeah.
that, you could put the Pokemon game in the pack on the back of the N64 controller
Yeah,
and play
I
it in
do remember
Pokemon Stadium. That shit's so crazy, dude. I love that.
Like, why not? Who cares?
Who cares?
Who cares, you dung bull?
He's on fire.